have the weirdest intros, dancing away until we're live. But I think we're live.
We are live on my end.
We are live. Welcome everyone to Conversations with Ladies Who Launch. My name is Anthea Cutler and I'm your mindset coach for women in business. And today I have the beautiful Jodie Nevid. Welcome, Jodie.
Hi, Anthea. Thanks so much for having me. And hello, everyone who is in your community and tuning in. Let's talk about launching, shall we?
Absolutely. Launching and all things business imperfect.
Love it.
So essentially, what do you call yourselves these days, Jodie? What do you do?
Well, traditionally, one might call me a business coach, but I say lifestyle entrepreneur and business coach because I'm very much about building businesses that give you the life that you want. So we do life planning first, business building second. I've also been dubbed by a PR agency as the Fairy Godmother for women in business because I help people achieve their impossible goals. Like women come to me with very small numbers and small goals, and they work with me and end up just smashing it and going, I never could have imagined that I could make this much money working part-time. So, yeah.
I love that so much. And Jodie and I have kind of come from similar worlds. We've both been trained by Alistair Horscroft from the Mind Academy, and that's how I started following Jodie. So I definitely feel aligned to all of the work that you do. So thanks again for joining us.
It's my pleasure. And look, I think you're big on the whole mindset thing. Really, that is step one. You got to get your head in the game. And one of the things that I say to all my clients is if you want to deal with your stuff, build a business because all your shit will come up, all your fears, all your phobias, all your insecurities, and you get to face them and you get to grow through them. I actually think it's the best therapy a human can go through.
Absolutely. I like to say that it's like a personal development journey on steroids. It's like,
totally.
Hello there. You'll find out who you are pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So cool. And so this series is really about inspiring women in business to kind of go bigger, follow their dreams and model the bits that work and the bits and, bypass the bits that don't.
Yeah.
Just starting with my first question, I would love for you to kind of give us the spiel that you would love for your ideal client to be saying about you. What would you love to hear them say about your work?
I would love them to say, look, if you feel stuck in a job or a life that you don't love and you want to create more freedom, you have to speak to Jodie because Jodie will help you create a life that you are wildly in love with and build a business that sets you free. And she'll help you do it in a way that is all about working smarter, not harder. And you'll have a bloody good time while you're doing it. Yeah.
I love it so much. So if you're watching, please feel free to put in the comments any questions for Jodie. I'm sure she would be happy to come back and chat to anyone who's listening. And hashtag replay if you're catching us on the replay. Why did you first start your business, Jodie?
Well, that's a pretty long story, but I'll keep it super short for you. So my background is business. I've been in business most of my life. My grandparents were very entrepreneurial. They had a goal to be financially free by the time they were in their 40s, and they hit that goal. And then they became a nana and a papa. So I was their firstborn grandchild. And my nana and papa traveled the world. They had properties, businesses, invested in the share market, and they were true lifestyle entrepreneurs. As a little girl growing up, they conditioned me to make money work for me so I didn't waste my whole life working for it. They also conditioned me to work out what I want to do with my life and turn it into a business, pursue your passion and learn to monetize it. So when my friends were sort of graduating high school and going off to study and get jobs, I was working out what I loved to do and finding out a way that I could monetize it so that I didn't have to get a job and I could start a business. So I've been in business most of my life, but in my early 30s or sort of mid 30s, had a bit of a meltdown. Relationship breakup was the catalyst. Sold off the investment properties, shut down the business, became a single mum and got a real job. And it was the first time I had a sort of real job in the corporate world. Before that, my workplace was like Womadelaide Folk Festival, Woodford Folk Festival. I sold drums and percussion instruments. So I was a pottery artist by trade, and my business was making drums and pottery instruments and selling them at markets. I was a carny. I had dreadlocks, and it was a great life. Anyway, I ended up living overseas for some time. We shipped my product all over the world, won lots of different awards. And by the time I was in my 30s, my business looked amazing on the surface, but behind the scenes, my life was a bit messy. My relationship was falling apart. And when my partner and I decided to separate, I decided I needed some stability in my life to pay the mortgage, the private school fees, and buy him out of the property. So I did that, got a real job, landed in the corporate world, worked as an executive coach and leadership trainer and public speaker, and loved it, loved the work, but hated the job. And what ended up happening is within about 3 years, once the shine of, oh, look at me with my suit in my corporate job wore off, I became quite miserable, to be honest. I became a stressed out single mum who was a workaholic through the week and a social alcoholic on the weekend when my son went to his dad's. And I realized that most people around me, like, this was their norm. Life is stressful. Life is overwhelming. Monday to Friday grind is all we have, right? And I had a bit of a wake-up call and thought, no, this was not my story. I'm meant to be a financially free lifestyle entrepreneur doing what I love, working for myself. And so I decided to get out. And I thought, now that I understand the coaching and consulting industry, because I've worked in it for 7 years, I want to build a business where I can still use the knowledge that I have. I didn't want to go back into production of products and, you know, all the expenses and overheads that come with it. And I decided, once I crunched the numbers, that I just wanted to build a business where I could make 6 figures a year, because I was on a 6-figure salary, and that was nice. I liked that. But where I could work 3 days a week. So my work week is Tuesday to Thursday. And where I could take all of the school holidays off, because as a single mum, school holidays were a pain in the ass trying to find somewhere to put my son.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was the blueprint. And sure enough, in 2014, I quit my job and I built the 7 Effect, which is my business now, on that exact model. Interestingly enough, I never got into the 7 Effect to teach people how to build a business. I got into the 7 Effect to teach people how to create a life that they love, how to set goals, how to build their life plan. By our 3rd year in, our business was so successful, people started saying, you know what, my ultimate goal, Jodie, is to do what you've done. I want to quit my job. I want to create a lifestyle business. And so that's when our Lifestyle Entrepreneurs Academy program was born.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
So cool. And you've got a bunch of awards that you do, and
yeah.
What is your business? So actually, this leads on to my next question. So I love to give women in business a picture of, like, what it looked like in the beginning and what it looked like now, like the good bits, the messy bits, all of it.
Yeah. So if I talk about what it looked like in the beginning, so the reason I created the 7 Effect was because in 2009, I had a bit of a wake-up call when I was working full-time, and I realized that I was not on the trajectory that I wanted to be. So I started a goals club, and I just started sorting my life out. And I did that for nearly 5 years, and it was the goals club and the life planning process that completely transformed me. And because my day job was speaking on stages and educating leaders about being more effective, being better in their roles, and because I got to realize that most of their problems were actually personal problems, not necessarily work problems, but they were bringing them into the work. When we launched the 7 Effect, my mission really was to just inspire people to wake up and to live their life by design. So we rolled out with a life planning workshop and a goals club program that was linked to the 7 elements of life, which is our own life planning content. And when we started, that was the mission. It was just about that. And it was really great. But what happened, and I don't know if you've ever found this, Anthea, is whilst people complain about being stuck and frustrated, only a tiny percentage of those people are actually willing to do anything about it.
Mm.
So it's not an easy sell getting people to do a life planning or goals clubbing program. It was, a bit of a challenge to get the whole world to get excited about joining a goals club, because you can't get people to show up for themselves. So I ended up getting called back into the corporate world and asked to do some leadership training. And that's very lucrative. It's an easy way to make money.
Yeah.
And so in our first year, I created a program, which was an organizational turnaround program, and we did leadership with a twist. So our model was life first. Let's sort your life out with the 7 elements of life. Once you do that, step up as a leader. So outside of life, we have the 7 elements of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about really becoming a person of influence and being able to lead people towards something better, lead a movement, as I call it. And then in our third year, those leaders were really recognizing that, you know what, my life can be what I want. They had more confidence to choose their life. And so we created the 7 elements of lifestyle business. So the 7 effect has very much been led by me listening to what my clients are seeking to learn and me then creating the solutions. But because we're the 7 effect, I've become a little bit OCD. And everything has to be 7. So we have the 7 elements of life, the 7 elements of leadership, and then the 7 elements of lifestyle business.
Oh, I love that so much. And I think it's such a good reminder, like, to anyone who's starting out in a business, let's not pretend that your business is going to look the same way as you think it's going to look in the beginning, because we all would have given up. Like, we all would have gone, that doesn't work. I wasn't meant to do this.
I can guarantee you what you start with won't be what you finish with, because it's not until you get in the market and you get that deep understanding of what your clients need and want that you can really hone and deliver to that way in your own unique style. So, I help women quit their job and turn their talent into a business. And one of the things that I see is the program they launch with is never the same program that they finish with. A year later, they might have the same bones of it, but it's evolved, it's developed into something much more valuable.
Yeah. And like, I'm only 4 years into my business, and the number of pivots that I've made, like the business that I have now is not the business that I started out with.
Yeah. And is that has that been for you, Anthea, client-led as well, like you listening to the market?
Both, like, so in my business now, it's definitely been client-led. My program has been developed based on what my clients are telling me they need. But in the beginning, it was, let's work with a bunch of clients and see who I like working with.
Yeah.
And one of my coaches challenged me to pick the client because I was like, how am I going to niche? And then somebody just said, who have you loved working with in the last month? And I was like, women in business.
Same. And that's exactly what happened to me as well, Anthea, because I remember when we were doing the life planning stuff, I got to a phase where I was like, I just don't think the mindset coach and life design and helping people get over their fears and their phobias and their head stuff is really what lights me up. I found it a little bit heavy and exhausting, to be honest, because I've got a very strong mind that I can just flick a switch and go, think this, do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why can't you just change your mind?
Yeah.
And then when clients started coming to me saying, I want your help to build a business, oh my God, I became like a pokey machine on jackpot. It was like, I love this. This is what I want to do. So business is my passion. And the more I've leaned into that, the more I've outsourced the other stuff, because I still think it's important. But I'm a big believer in really becoming an expert and a specialist in your little pocket, and then partnering up with other people who become the masters and the experts in their little pocket as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to be the generalist,
Yeah. And then the other thing that I love, like, is that relationship between business and self, because people often ask me in my work, what happens if something personal comes up? And I'm like, we work on all of it, because you can't, when you're an entrepreneur, you can't really separate the two.
That's right.
And it, as you will have outlined in your business model, like, it starts with self.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've learned, and this is what I love about the journey in hindsight, the dots all connect. When I help a woman build a business, the very first thing we look at is her numbers first. So we crunch the numbers and we build the financial model. But then the second thing we look at is her life. And so I go right back to the foundations, which are the 7 elements of life. And I say, for you to succeed and build this brilliant business you want, number one, we've got to sort your life out. You've got to have a great life. And number two, you've actually got to understand leadership. You've got to be able to step in and become a person of influence, because the businesses that I help people build are all service or knowledge-based businesses. We're coaches, consultants, experts, educators, that sort of space.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Okay, so what about launching? What did launching look like for you in the beginning, and what does it look like now?
Yeah, that's a really good one. So when we launched the 7 Effect, I was in partnership with my workplace bestie, Amy. So I'd met Amy in the corporate world. We became great mates, and we decided to launch the 7 Effect together because she was in the original Goals Club with me before we were a business. Mm-hmm. So the 7 Effect started as 7 girlfriends who met once a month and set goals. Amy and I were part of that. There were 7 of us, so we called ourselves the 7 Effect. I started sharing stories about the 7 Effect Goals Club in the corporate world where I was working, and people came up to me and said, I need to join this Goals Club. How do I get in? That's when I went back to the girls and I said, there's a business in this. So Amy and I turned it into a business, and we launched in May 2014. Amy's background is events. So our original launch was a beautiful breakfast event, and Amy organized it. She had a photo booth there. We had 65 tickets. It was sold out. I was the speaker. She was the event coordinator, and there was no big pitch. It was just really a celebration or a party. And from that, we had people jump into our goals clubs and people start to become clients, which was really exciting. So previously, our launches were often big breakfasts or big events, and sometimes we'd get 250 people in the room. But when Amy stepped away from the business, I was like, there's no freaking way I'm doing that on my own.
Events, my zone of genius.
Events are not my thing. And funnily enough, I'm hosting a huge event this week, but without Amy as well. But after we sort of did the live events, I thought there's got to be a faster, easier, cheaper way. So we did webinars, live webinars to a pitch at a certain time of year to get people into our main program. And it worked really well. It was always a really effective way. And I have to admit, the first time I did a live webinar, have you seen the movie Flying High, where the crazy comedy movie Flying High?
I don't think I know it, but then I'm often that person.
Oh, you're that one.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. And then I see it and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah. So it's a really old 70s or 80s movie, Flying High, but it's a funny movie about this crazy calamity of an air trip that goes all bad. And anyway, the pilot in it is trying not to crash the plane, and there's just he's just freaking out and sweating like crazy.
Sorry,
and so
hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
What have I done, Jodie?
So actually, this leads on to my next question. Sorry.
Okay, I think I'm good. I just had it playing in the background. I clicked something. I was on the comments, and then I was like,
yeah.
Oh, what have I done? Sorry, but how do you keep?
That's all right. So in Flying High, there's this scene where the pilot is literally holding onto the plane, and he's got sweat dripping off his face, and he's just freaking out because he's about to crash the plane. So the very first time I did a live webinar, I was like that guy. I was behind the webinar. I was like sweating. I was like, oh my God, is anyone watching? Is anyone listening? Is this working? Is it all going to crash? But it worked, and it was really good. And then afterwards I did the pitch, and no one bought immediately. But the next morning, Amy and I were actually at a women's conference, and I looked at my email, and there was just boom, 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 sale, sale, sale. And so after our very first webinar, we did about $35,000 of sales. I know, which was epic. And so now I've done webinars where we've closed up to probably, I think the most is about $78,000 of sales in one webinar.
So good.
Which can work really well. It's really good if you've got a high value program. Yeah.
My first webinar was sitting in a dingy little office in this place that I used to rent out. And one of the business coaches that I followed, Tash Corbin, had done like a fast money challenge, and she challenged people, like, if you haven't done a webinar, run a webinar this week. So
Yeah.
righto, that's right up my alley, nice and quick, no pressure, doesn't really have to work. And I think I had one person watching, and it was like one of my mates. And then I was totally like so nervous, and then it was I remember laughing my head off afterwards, because I was like, there was one person there and it wasn't a client. But I have this beautiful ability to sign people up for my webinars after the main event. And so I always talk, like, you know, the big reframing. I always talk to people like, you can't ever get disappointed with sign-ups for your webinar, because anything could happen, and you could be like me and have this sneaky like replay situation that happens after the webinar. So
and that's a real gift to be able to go, okay, now I'll get people to watch the replay. I don't have that strength. I'm like all about the live, and then I get off of it. And
good team.
Yeah, we make the perfect team. Because I get off of a webinar and I literally feel like I've got a hangover, and I go, shit, what did I say? Did any of that make sense? That was terrible. We can't share the replay. And I'm so critical of myself after I've done a webinar. And it's like, Amy used to say to me, Jodie, you just sold $50,000 worth of program. It was a pretty good webinar. But I just feel,
I think it was okay.
Yeah. I always feel really, I don't know what it is about me. And I don't like to think that I'm a perfectionist, but in that area, there's something weird going on. Like there's the webinar hangover where you go, shit, what did I just do?
Yeah. And like, I love that you're sharing that with us. And I suppose that's why I shared my story of my first webinar, is because they all look different. Everybody all has different knacks, and you don't need to be perfect in order to work.
No, I've got an amazing woman who is a client of mine. Her name's Marianne Bennett. And she, when she first joined and started working with us, she's a clinical nutritionist. She's a mum of 4 who got fibromyalgia from working her ass off her whole life as a cleaner, never done coaching, never done anything. And so she studied clinical nutrition to heal herself from fibromyalgia. Once she'd done that, she wanted to just help one other woman get her health back. So she got on this mission to build her business. She'd never done webinars. She'd never taught anything in her whole life. And what was really beautiful is Marianne just committed to show up every fortnight for an entire year and practice her craft and do her webinars. She got to a point where she was getting invitations from people in Singapore to present at their symposium and conference. Schools were inviting her in. She wrote articles that went really gangbusters on LinkedIn about healing fibromyalgia. But she started off knowing she had to get in the arena, but not knowing, how to. Obviously, I helped her and guided her, but you don't have to be a professional speaker or educator to make this work. You've just got to have a really clear message and a strong results-focused goal, I think, is the key.
Yeah, amazing. And so with regards to your launches at the moment, do you still do webinar? Like, is that how you run it now?
I haven't done one for a while, but yes, it is how we're looking at a new strategy. So we've just signed up with a new company called Bold SEO, and they have a short video ad that they use. So rather than actually having a webinar, it's just a Facebook ad that's like a 20-minute video that's very high quality content, that's very informative. And from there, there's just a lead form. And from that, you find out if people want to apply for your program. So we're going to try that. And I will probably do 1 or 2 webinars again. So our launch period is December, January for a February start.
Yeah, cool. And so it's kind of moving into that evergreenish model.
Yeah, and I'd love to have a funnel that has more of a evergreen webinar that people can watch on demand, because I think that's very helpful. I've just got to get over myself and realize that one of them will be fine as a replay. It's like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
and like, I have that classic example, Denise Duffield Thomas.
Yes, love her.
Yeah, I've seen her speak on stage a couple of times, and she has this beautiful example about a meditation that she used, and maybe it still exists. And it was one of those meditations where she was like, oh, it's horrible, I need to re-record it. But then she went back and calculated how much money she had made from that in-person audio, and she was like, maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's in her book, Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. Yeah. She talks about that. I love her work. She's amazing. Yeah. And it's true what she says, sometimes we are our biggest critic, and we see that with our clients all the time. I'm sure your clients are the same, Anthea.
Absolutely. But I always say to people, like, I need to be reminded of this too.
Totally.
Just because I coach people on it doesn't mean that I'm, immune to it either.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
So you're kind of the guru on this stuff with regards to, I like to talk about ease and fun in your business, and how to have ease and fun in your business. And I suppose you're totally like on that.
That is my jam.
With the lifestyle business.
Yep.
So what are your go-to recommendations for people when we're talking about like lifestyle businesses?
My number one go-to is the 80-20 rule. So actually look at Richard Koch's work. He's got a great book called 80-20 Your Life. It used to be called Living the 80-20 Way, and he's rebranded it and renamed it. And then from a more business perspective, the 80-20 principle. So the author is Richard Koch. The principle is the 80-20 rule. But the essence of it is find the low effort, high reward strategy for anything you want to achieve, whether it be in your life or your business. And I love in his book, he talks about that there are 4 types of people. You've got your lazy, stupid people. And he says, okay, lazy and stupid, they're harmless. Don't worry about them. Then you have your hardworking, stupid people. Hardworking and stupid is very dangerous because they'll take a simple challenge and they'll turn it into a hard task. They make simple things difficult. Then you've got your intelligent and hardworking people. And he says these people are great to have as employees, but as a business owner, you don't want to be one, because intelligent and hardworking people will burn themselves out often. They're the workaholics. What you want to do is you want to become intelligent and lazy. And the interesting thing is your intelligent and hardworking people are often so disgusted by the word lazy that they'll never really crack the code on the 80-20 principle, because their significance and validation comes from working hard. And so it's interesting. I lived by the 80-20 rule. When I came across it 15 years ago, it was my Bible, and I was like, hallelujah, this is what I'm about. It's a bit like Denise Duffield Thomas's Chillpreneur.
Totally.
She's totally about that stuff. So I've been about this for the last 15 years, but I gave it to my partner to listen to. He's hardworking and intelligent, successful business person, but works very hard, burnt himself out many times. And he really is repulsed by laziness, and he actually doesn't like the intelligent, lazy model. There's something in his DNA that just cannot accept that that is okay. So, it's not for everyone, but that's my go-to. If you want a fun life and a business where you don't burn out, crack the code on the 80-20 rule and be lazy and intelligent.
Oh, yes. And he must just have it on an identity level. He just can't even see why that would be a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's totally there. And one thing I've learned, Anthea, about, the tools that you learn through the Mind Academy and NLP, don't mess with your partner. Like, don't be their coach. Don't go there.
And we're only in the business of changing whatever's not working for you, right? So if that's not working for him, and he doesn't want to change it.
That's right. He's got to choose what he chooses. But my son is an entrepreneur. We took him out of school early at the end of year 10 to start his own business. He's now just turned 20 actually last week, but he's got his own personal training business. He's about to buy his first investment property. He's studying how to trade shares, and he's very into building wealth, but he's intelligent and lazy. And so my partner is challenged by that because he sleeps in, he doesn't work hard, but he's very successful for a 20-year-old. He's built some wealth. He's ready to start investing in property, and he's got a great little business. but he's not sweating, you know? And I think that that's interesting. Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you can have both in the same family. Like,
yeah, that's right. That's
so
right.
amazing. Okay, so what about, we've done kind of ease in your business. What about, can you tell us one about like one of your biggest business either launch challenges or just business challenges, and what are your go-tos in challenging times, either for yourself or for your clients?
So there's two here. Number one is Facebook ads. Far out, that piss me off. We've been so the lesson here, and everyone knows this, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you need Facebook ads to drive traffic, and that's the only way that you get traffic into your business, and they shut you down, you are screwed. And that happened to us. So Facebook ads for us was our number one strategy. It worked for years until it didn't. Our webinar used to be called the 6-figure plan, because our model is make 6 figures a year, work 3 days a week, take school holidays off. It's the secret sauce every mum wants. And that's what we run by. That's how we run our business. That's how we teach our clients to do it. But Facebook decided that if you're teaching people to make 6 figures a year working part-time, and you talk about having a lifestyle business, you must be a multi-level marketing company. And we also got hacked by someone in Vietnam and had all these ads running. And so our account just got locked up in a serious way for a whole year. We couldn't run Facebook ads. We couldn't do anything. And it was a real challenge. So what we had to do was lots of organic content and LinkedIn. So I lent into LinkedIn for a bit. Mm-hmm. That was pretty good. But it was a pain in the butt, to be honest. And it was really, really hard. And it did impact us because it was so easy before. When it worked, it was beautiful. Just turn on and get leads. But then when it stopped, it was a nightmare. Yeah.
It's like you have to redesign your whole marketing strategy.
Yeah. So that was one big tough time in business. And I'd say the second big tough time was in 2020. In March, when we'd just literally onboarded all our new students for our high ticket program to help them build a business. And then the world freaking goes into lockdown and there's a pandemic. And so obviously fear became incredibly high. And I thought, shit, we've got all these new students who want to build a business in a world that's now filled with unpredictability and fear and chaos. So I really had to step up, and I created, in addition to our existing program, what I called my Life Raft program, where I just showed up every single day and went above and beyond to build a community within my community of people that had the confidence and the courage to really shine and do good in the world through their work rather than shrink. And the interesting thing about that is when I actually really called the elephant in the room and said, you know what, we all have a choice here. We step up and shine, or we step back and we shrink. I'm going to show up every single day for every single one of you and help you shine. My clients that year had their best years in business. Like we broke records that year because the market was there and most people were shrinking. And so we just decided to shine. And that I get goosebumps thinking of it. And it was emotional and there was lots of tears and there was lots of intensity.
Yeah.
But far out, it was a good time in a scary time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I really felt that I had to do it because I've just asked people to commit to take on a very scary thing of like build a business and quit your job. Holy shit. Now you're in an environment that's very unpredictable. It's scary enough for people doing this sort of thing without that on top.
And then you enter a pandemic.
But luckily we were in an industry that actually went through more of a boom, than a bust, because online became the new learning. And so everyone was getting great numbers to their webinars. Everyone was getting great enrollments to their online programs. And it worked really well. Amazing,
but not without a dash of courage.
That's right. A big double dose of courage was required from me and from the clients, from our whole community.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you reckon, out of everything what do you reckon are within your business now and for your ladies in business,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think are the non-negotiable supports?
The non-negotiable supports?
Yeah.
What do you
Could
mean
be
by
mindset, could be strategy, could be
Oh,
systems, could be anything.
okay. Yeah. Got you. So number one, so I work with coaches and consultants predominantly. Number one is be high value. Like, don't try and build a business on cheap ass offers. Like, don't launch your freaking $7 program or your $97 program and think that it's going to get you to six figures, because what it'll often do is position you as low value. The people who have $7 programs or $97 programs are making millions. It costs a lot of money to have cheap stuff in the market. You've got to have a big high ticket program. So number one non-negotiable is be high value. It's better in your first year to launch one $3,000 program and get 20 people to it than a $97 program and try and get 500 people to it, because client acquisition is really challenging when you're first starting out. So that's number one non-negotiable. Number two non-negotiable is know your numbers. I have a tool called the Coach's Calculator, and it is gold. It is like people go through this process with me and go, mind blown.
I know the one. I've been through
You've been through it.
I've downloaded the calculator. It's brilliant.
It's bloody brilliant if I don't say so myself, but I'm amazed at how many women show up for a fast path session with me. We crunch their numbers and they go, shit, I've never really thought about this before. And they see what I do. This is what I love doing, Anthea, is I ask them, tell me your offers, tell me your programs. We crunch it all into the thing. And I go, shit, this is where you're at right now. This is how hard you have to work to make even 10 grand a year. No wonder you feel burnt out and you feel like you're going to go broke. So we use that tool to redo their numbers. So again, it's linked back to rule number one, be high value, know your numbers. And number three, I would say, is position yourself as an expert niched in a small area rather than the generalist. Because if you look at the hierarchy of value as a coach or a consultant or a business owner or any kind of professional, really, at the bottom is the generalist. I call them the jack. You know, they're the low value jack of all trades. And you don't want to be the jack. Like, don't be low value generalists. Above that is your specialist, certified specialist. You know, that's pretty good. At least you're specializing in an area. But above that, which is even better, is your expert authority. And the difference between a certified specialist is they have a piece of paper to say, ta-da, I'm certified to do hypnosis on you or NLP on you or teach you how to trade the share market. But the expert authority doesn't have pieces of paper necessarily. They may have. What they have is results. And I think that is the most important thing. Your results in business, in your own life, as well as in your clients' lives, are the most valuable marketing tool that you have. All you need is to get results and then share those results with the people in your community. And trust me, it's results that sell more than any piece of perfected copy or magnificent landing page. Results are where it's at.
Yeah. I love that so much. It's so true. It's so true. And I think that's like, even if I think back to my own business, like that's how easily you can generate referrals. And it's just,
totally. And people go, so I've got a couple of clients who I teach what I call results-based marketing, and there's a bit of a formula for it, but I've got a couple of clients who have really nailed that. And in fact, in our Freedom Awards, one of the awards is the Results Award. And there's a couple of clients who do this so well that really all they do is once a week share another result that a client's had and another result that a client's had. And what it's constantly doing them is positioning them as an expert who just gets results every time, because we just see, wow, you've got another person doing that and another person doing that, and it works a treat. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay. So a sneaky question. Is there anyone that you would like me to interview to get the behind the scenes on their business? What would you ask them?
Well, someone who I really admire and love, and this was going way back before we even started our business, but I was following, is Lisa Messenger.
Yeah.
I love her books, and I think that she's super cool. She's hard to get hold of. I've tried to reach out to her as well, but you know what? If you can interview her, I would love to. I would love that, Anthea.
Cool.
Denise Duffield Thompson, I've seen a lot of her stuff. She's always fun and she's gorgeous, and I love how real she is. What would I want to know about Lisa? I'd love to really find out what were the early days like for Lisa, because I only saw her once she was exploded onto the market and she had the whole collective, and it's like, wow, you've come from nowhere to be this huge entity. I still don't even understand her business model and where she makes her true money. It used to be publications and magazines, but I'd love to really get the DNA of her business and where she started and what that turning point was from scrappy startup to super successful.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why I'm doing these convos. So hopefully I'll be able to message you soon and go, we got Lisa.
Yeah, do it. That'd be great. I'll be tuning in with questions for her. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for sharing the behind the scenes on your business. You're an absolutely inspirational lady, and I love your business so much and the community that you've created.
Thank you.
Thank you. But before we go,
yes,
are there any free or paid offers that you'd like to share with us? I definitely think we need to share the calculator.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a code where you can get the calculator. So the calculator is normally a whopping $7. Remember, I said don't make $7 things. You've got to have money behind you. It's not my money maker. But if you use the code podcast, all capitals, podcast, because we give it away as part of my podcast. By the way, follow our podcast. It's called You Could Start a Business Doing That, where I interview women who have turned what they love to do into a business. But yeah, type in the word podcast, go to thecoachescalculator.com, use the word podcast, and you'll get it for free. It's an epic tool. Paid offer. We've got this week, starting Wednesday, our 3-day Freedom Fest retreat. It's a 3-day planning retreat where I basically lay out the entire Freedom Fest planning system. Sort your life out, step up and lead your movement, build an 80-20 business that sets you free. We do 1 day on each. We're actually also live streaming it, and you get all the recordings and everything, plus all of the downloadable tools. The live streaming 3-day event is $690 only, but for your listeners, I can share a link with you after this, Anthea, if they want it. We can do it for $490. We've got a couple of spots for the live streaming. Now, the best thing about that is it comes with a 10-month goals club after the fact. So you do the 3 days, then from February to November, I'm there once a month to show up in a goals club, which is where it all happens, to make sure that your plans, your life plan, your leadership plan, and your business plan actually get implemented. So in terms of getting access on the Freedom System for $490, I have to say it's a freaking
steal.
It's a steal. If you say, I want to sort my life out, I want to build a business that sets me free in 2022, it's a great deal. So yeah, we can offer $200 off the normal price for your peeps.
Oh, that is so generous of you. Thank you so much. And
My
maybe
pleasure.
you and I can chat later, and we'll grab a couple of links and I'll add them to this post for anyone who's interested. That would be
definitely
amazing.
That sounds great. And thank you so much for having me, and for anyone that's listening and watching. Any questions, reach out anytime. I'm a very open, transparent, and approachable person who loves to chat.
Yes, you are. Yes,
yeah.
You are. I can vouch for that.
Thanks for having me.
Much, Jodie. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.